big show concert tomorrow night at Tannery Row, the place we did Podcast and Pours 2 at. And I wanted to get the artist on to talk again, a repeat guest of the program. But the show is Pete and Chad's acoustic rock show. It'll start at 8:30 p.m. And if you want to go, you can go to TanneryRowAlehouse.com. You can make reservations by calling them at 678-765-8979. So the Chad in the show is Chad Stewart, the drummer from Faster Pussycat. And the Pete in the show is Pete Evick from Bret Michaels' band and my buddy. And you guys got together somehow and formed this acoustic band. How did this come about, Pete?
To be honest with you, it was just one phone call. I've known Chad for about 20 years. Chad used to play with Gilby Clarke from Guns N' Roses. And we played together with my band Evick, and Chad one night sat in and played a couple songs with our band, and we've been buddies ever since. And we've always talked about doing something together. Originally, this was going to be a three-piece with Eric Brittingham from Cinderella with us. It was actually his idea to do this in January. And then we went out and booked all the dates, and then something happened with Eric, and he wasn't able to do it. And me and Chad had already wiped our calendars and committed to doing this, so we decided to go out and do it. And I think Eric will join us back in January and keep going with us.
That's so cool. Okay, so I've known you for a very long time, and I've always said Evick. And when I saw you a little while back when you were in Georgia, when Brett and you guys were playing at Sugar Hill, which was an awesome show, he goes out, and when he, that's the first time I've ever heard him say your name properly, how you just said it. Now I feel bad. I've been mispronouncing.
So there's no mispronouncing it. My side of the family has always said Evick. And there's other parts of the family that say Evick. It doesn't. You know what? I am grateful that anyone would even mention my name or say it wrong or right. So it never matters to me, man. You can say whatever you want, but I pronounce it Evick.
Okay. Well, you should do the Motley Crue dots or maybe a line over it, just so we know.
Would that solve that problem?
It would. Yeah. It's Evick.
Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, maybe you'll do that. That's pretty cool. So that's I thought isn't Faster Pussycat still out on the road? Don't they still tour
all the time? That's it. Well, so that's the funny thing is Faster Pussycat is like us, the same thing, man. They're a machine. They're always out. They're always running. So it's a very unique situation that both them and us in the Bret band have December off. Bret normally runs us right up till Christmas Eve, and we're not doing that this year.
Why not? Is he busy?
Well, I don't know if you saw yesterday the announcement of the Live Nation's amphitheater tour that we're doing. So we're headlining the amphitheaters next year, including Atlanta's.
Wow.
With Night Ranger as our opening act and Jefferson Starship as the first act of the night. And then we're doing Bret's Party Gras concept that he's had a long time, where we have special guests come in and sing with us all night long. For instance, we're going to have Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray join us on stage. We're going to have Steve Ajuri from former singer of Journey join us on stage. And we're going to have those two with us every night. And then with every town we're in, we'll have someone from that area that has had some kind of giant success in the music business come and join us. I imagine when we're Atlanta, it won't actually be Atlanta based, but we would probably have our good friend Edwin McCain from South Carolina come out and sing with us, or maybe Sean Mullins, who's an Atlanta guy that we love a lot, or maybe the guys in Seven Dust, who knows, but we announced that yesterday. And because of that, we can't, the term inside the industry is eat up the markets. So we can't really play a lot of those areas until those dates, because it's a Live Nation thing, and they make the rules.
Yeah. What about Ed Roland from Collective Soul? He'd be perfect.
Oh yeah, you know what? And we played with Collective Soul a few times. That might actually be, you might have just. I'm going to make the calls when we get off the phone and see if that has been thought about yet. That a lot of that stuff is not my. Unless they're my friends personally, I get to throw their name in the pot. But everybody's thinking of everybody from different cities. So that might be already came up. I know that one of Brett's managers, Charlie, lives in Atlanta and books Collective Soul. So maybe that name has already been thrown in the pot, and I just wasn't made aware.
I know Charlie. I've been to Charlie's house. Nate, that's where you went out and shot fireworks with the lead singer of Tesla.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I was there. Oh, he did.
No, yeah, Nate did. Yeah. You weren't there. It was a party with the Collective Soul guys. I've known those guys for a very long time.
Yeah.
The Styx guys and Tesla.
Right.
And we were at Charlie's house.
Yeah, because Charlie manages Styx. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And then we were sitting there at a table. We weren't like overly drunk or anything, but the lead singer for Tesla was sitting there singing along to a song on the jukebox. And then I think, Nate, didn't you start dancing with him or something? And then you guys went and shot fireworks. And like the next day, like, that was pretty fucking cool.
You know, Charlie was at our show the other night that you were.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't even know that. Didn't even know that.
Yep. He was there. He was very incognito. He was watching up from the soundboard.
Nate, did I get that wrong?
No, it was Styx and Tesla. They just started jamming, and I can't remember what they were playing. They're watching some like old home movies or something like that. And
can I ask the concept? Forgive me for not understanding, but how come you're always in the office and he's always at the beach?
Because he lives in Mexico and I don't.
I know, but go ahead. It makes me jealous every time I do your show and I'm looking. I want to be at the beach.
Come on down.
You're in the Shining Soul headquarters right now with all of your candle potions lined up behind you. What are you talking about?
Those are actually the color dyes. The candle potions are all over there. In fact, I don't know if it's. I never show the secret sauce, but I'll spin this around, and all of that stuff is the potions.
Ooh. Yes. Look at this. I got this on every video. The Pete Evick candle is on my table for every show. I got this.
That's awesome, man. Hey, how about the show the other night? You guys had a good time, right?
Let me tell you. So it's amazing to me. Like, there are certain artists that have a blueprint for success and they're complacent enough, and I say that in a positive way, to perform that, understanding that they know that's what the audience wants. You guys put the same energy and the same show together every single time, year after year. It's amazing. And it's like you're at the very first show.
Right. You know, it's funny. It's me and Brett often talk about play every night like it's your first night and your last.
Yeah. Well, just like in radio, you're only as good as your last show and all that good stuff. But to understand that you're not straying from the concepts, and when you play Something to Believe In or Every Rose Has Its Thorn, understanding that somebody in the audience is hearing this for the very first time.
That's right.
And they don't want you to goof on it or play it differently. They want to go back to that breakup in 91 or 89.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes artists will play, like, especially their ballads, and they'll goof around with it. And that pisses me off. I hate that.
Right. No, there's sincerity. And Brett is always, he's grateful every day that the fans were ever there in the first place and that they're still there all these years later. And that place is a beautiful place to have what a great atmosphere and vibe. There's a lot of those places like that around the country, but that one was special. That's a really cool place, man.
I had never been there before, and I was blown away. It's in Sugar Hill. It's like this. They call it the Bowl, I think, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
The Bowl. Yeah.
And so, we're at the show, and it's not a backstage, but I'm back there talking with Pete and Brett, and Jana was there. I didn't realize it was Jana's birthday. It was Jana's birthday.
That's right.
And I hadn't seen her in, like 17 years. I was like, well, how's your kid? And she's like, well, 17 now. Like, what?
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy, right? The time's gone by surprisingly fast. Yesterday, me and Brett were on Eddie Trunk's show.
Yeah.
Eddie asked me on air, Pete, how long have you been in Brett's band? And I said, this was my 20th year. And as I said that, I saw the look in both Eddie and Brett's eyes. Like, they're like, that where did that time go?
I think that guy took a shot at me one time because I broke the news that Guns N' Roses was getting back together before him.
Oh, he doesn't like that.
And, and you know, and I know who the guy is, and I've got mutual friends, and you know, I got no heat with the dude. I know he's very successful, very popular, and he's the voice of, you know, the hairband generation, and I get it. That's cool. But you know, I guess when, you know, all these different radio DJs were talking about it, they kind of had to mention me, because in all the press releases and articles, it says, you know, Jason Bailey from the rock station in Atlanta broke the news, blah blah blah. And I never told anybody how I got the information. And I never will, you know, but I was spot on. I was right. I got all the credit for it, and it was pretty badass. And people like Eddie Trunk were pissed.
Yeah, right. I get it. I mean, Eddie is the voice of that.
He
and,
is.
And he's sincere, and he believes in it. But yeah, when you do what he does, you want to feel like you're privy to having that information before the rest. And you know, it's a funny industry how that stuff works. To be honest with you, the older I get, the more I learn that the cutthroat of it, it's never going to go away. It's always an uphill battle.
Always an uphill battle. It's sick. So the show, and I talked about this right after the show. So the show, I get to meet the guys from Lit and
Hoobastank.
And I'm such a huge Lit fan, and I'd never got to meet him. So I'm become friends with Taylor. I talk with AJ and the lead singer, and when they came out, and then the guitarist for Hoobastank, and I went to their show the next night.
I was going to ask, did you go?
I did. It was remarkable. Like, you had Lit, you had Hoobastank, you had Alien Ant Farm, and Chris from the Atari solo, Chris Rowe. And I'm a fan of every one of them. And you don't realize how many hits they all have. And it was a very small theater type of venue. And you know, it was a couple, maybe 100 or so. And it wasn't packed. It wasn't a big rock show type of vibe. But all the acts, such pros, they treated it like they were in front of 50,000 people.
Sure. I get it. Well, they're all pros. The guy Jeremy and AJ and from Lit are just super. I mean, it's funny. The Lit thing is funny because you know, other than being in Brett's band, I've been I've been on the cover band circuit my whole life, and I enjoy it. I'm one of those guys that even 20 years after playing with Brett and you know, 4-hit records and all this stuff, I still enjoy going out and playing 3 set a night cover music. I just love playing that, doing that part of the world and keeping my roots in that. And so I was talking to the guys in Lit, and it's I don't know that anyone ever realizes the power of My Own Worst Enemy. I mean, there's a million hit songs. There's a million smash hit songs. But every once in a while there's this song that becomes a staple to A, rock radio, and B, what I call the cover band world. And Sweet Home Alabama is the ultimate, you know, that's the joke. That's the cover band. You got to play Sweet Home Alabama. Well, after 20 some years, that Lit song is one of those songs. My Own Worst Enemy is a cover band requirement. And I was talking to him. I was like, did you ever really realize you were going to write the 90s version of Sweet Home Alabama? Which is basically what they did. You can't go in and see a cover band anywhere in the country and not expect that they're probably closing the night with that song.
Right. There's 2 factors to a song that lives forever, in my opinion. One, the guitar riff, how the song opens, you know within a millisecond what the song is.
That's right.
There's a handful of them. Lit is one of them. And I didn't realize that. I mean, until I heard it live, and I'm like, holy shit. I mean, that's in the same conversation as Sweet Child O' Mine, you know, as far as the guitar riff goes. And second, when you hear the title of the song in another song and you think of that song from the band.
That's right. Yeah.
Linkin Park's Given Up has My Own Worst Enemy in the song. I think of Lit, you know, so those are 2 things, 2 factors.
And great guys. Well, it was a great time to hang out with those guys out there.
Oh, they were phenomenal. The nicest guys in the world. They were just the sweetest. And like I said, I'm trying to get AJ on, and we've been talking on social media, and and I had Taylor on with RJ Hale and his
Uh-huh.
band, Chemical Fire. So I had those guys on. So it was a great connection. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And how was Alien Ant Farm that night?
Awesome. I'd never seen Alien Ant Farm. The lead singer is kind of an odd bird, isn't he?
They're great songs, though. That one song they had, what was that first hit in the movies or whatever?
Yeah.
What a great hook and a great song, man.
And of course, Smooth Criminal. But I mean, they looked great. Here's the other thing: is all the bands, all the members of the bands, they all looked great.
That's cool. Yeah.
They look like they've matured, but they still look like rock stars.
Good. Yeah. I wish I
That's-
could have stayed that night and gone and hung out, man.
you guys were down in Florida the next night, weren't you?
Yeah, we were. Yep.
You're just down in Florida. So you and Chad from Faster Pussycat, which I'm a fan. House of Pain is like, story of my life, right?
So it's interesting is that's in our set list,
Oh, great.
and it, it's a very emotional song for me. It's funny that you just said it's the story of your life, right? So go ahead. I have an interesting, maybe you might consider an interesting twist on the song, but go ahead with what you were going to say about it.
Well, it's just I grew up a bastard, not knowing my biological father, and not necessarily going through like, if you know the lyrics of the song, obviously not you people, everybody else, where you're sitting there waiting for dad to come home and that kind of thing. I didn't have to experience that, but dad wasn't there, let's just say.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So I did have my father. He was in the home. My parents were married till my mother passed away, but my father was a workaholic and not a very emotional guy. And he'd had 5 kids from another marriage before he married my mom and had me. And so when that song came out, I felt it too. It was weird to me that my dad lived in my own home, but I felt like I didn't have a father.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly emotional to me as a kid because I was a songwriter by that time and I was already invested in my career, but I was still young and in high school. And so I was really tapped into lyrics. Lyrics were always super important to me. And it was gut wrenching what that song made me feel like. So move forward after I had my kids and then I went through a divorce and spending my time on the road. A lot of people think about that song "Cats in the Cradle" all the time.
I was just getting ready to make the comparison.
Yeah. So this was the '90s versions of "Cats in the Cradle" in a lot of ways, right?
Ready to say that. God. Yeah.
And so after I had my children and realized I wasn't going to be around a lot, I couldn't even listen to that song for 4 or 5 years. And we would play with Faster Pussycat, and I would have to leave the room because all I kept thinking was, my fucking kids are feeling this. My kids are going through, but I was there. I did every effort I could, even after the divorce. The kids would come out on the road with me. I never missed a holiday. I never missed a birthday. And if I was home, me and the wife had joint 50-50. We had 50-50 custody. And literally the second I would get off the plane, she would be at the airport with the kids, and I wouldn't give them back to her till I left to go back on the road. But in my brain, I knew I was still not there all the time. And I was devastated thinking my children were growing up feeling this song. And as my son got older, the oldest son, Gavin, and got into music and started playing, he really got into Faster Pussycat. He loves them. He's been to see him a bunch of times. And I finally I had to set him down and explain to him what this song means to me. And I said, now that you know this song and you're into it, I need to know, do you feel this? Do you, is this? And he was like, no, Dad, I've never thought that at all. You've been a great dad, which made me feel good. But then me and him went to see Faster Pussycat one night. I've never told any of those guys the story of this song. I've never told them what it means to me. And I find him off in the corner talking to him, telling him the whole story.
So who sings it, you or Chad?
You know what? So me and Chad have only played once together, and it was a big, loud live rock show. Like I said, we've never done an acoustic thing together. We've never rehearsed. We haven't even seen each other since we had this idea. And Chad is an amazing singer. I don't know if you guys know that. His voice is incredible. But when we started this thing, the idea was just that I was going to be the lead singer. But we've talked over the last couple of weeks that he was going to sing some of them. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to sing that one.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to I do a live streaming concert every Tuesday night from my living room, and I'm going to do that one tonight to give it a practice go.
Yeah, well, it should be interesting if you guys haven't rehearsed, practiced, or seen each other for tomorrow night at Tannery Row.
Oh, yeah. I got that. Yeah.
So, Faster Pussycat, it's Tammy Down, right? That's the lead singer,
Tammy Down. Yes.
Tammy Down. His first band. Do you know what the name of the first band that he had?
Dude, I have no idea. Fill me in.
Okay, so this is fun. I like to do this. They were called the Bondage Boys. The Bondage Boys.
Yeah.
So Faster Pussycat could have been the Bondage Boys at one time. So
it's
with
good,
that,
it's not.
Yeah, so well, I mean, you probably if you got used to got used to the Bullet Boys, right? I mean, so
I get it.
I wrote down, or I found some other bands, their original name of very popular bands. So I'm going to do some trivia with you.
Let's go.
All right, this will be fun.
This.
All right, the band Muse, great band, right? Band Muse. Was their original band name A, Big Booty O's, B, Cruise, or C, Rocket Baby Dolls? Pete, anyone?
I would have to say Cruise.
All right, Nate.
Big Booty O's.
All right, Big Booty O's. And Nate?
I'm going Big Booty O's also.
Okay, it's actually Rocket Baby Dolls. No points.
Wow, I would have never guessed that.
All right, I'm going to keep track here. Pete, Nate, Nikki. Okay, no points.
By the way, this is a genius thing. Like you should do this every day. This
bit. I thought you would like it. You know, every time you come on, we bullshit about music. So I thought this would be fun. Radiohead. All right, Radiohead. Their original name was A, Record Player Feet, B, On a Friday, or C, Tom with an H. Pete?
On a Friday.
On a Friday. Nate?
Tom with an H.
All right. That's clever, is it not, Nikki?
I chose Tom with an H too.
Pete gets the point. On a Friday.
What was the first one you said? Record Player Feet?
Yeah, it's not Radiohead. It's Record Player Feet.
So I want to know where you're getting the wrong names from.
I make them up. I made them up. Yeah, I made them up.
That's amazing.
You'll see a pattern as we continue too. All right, so there we go. Muse, Radiohead, the Beatles. Oh, the Beatles were not the Beatles originally. Were they A, the Smile Boys, B, Johnny and the Moondogs, or C, the Roaches?
I would say Johnny and the Road Dogs.
Moondogs.
Moondogs. Johnny and the Moondogs.
All right, Nate.
What was the second one?
Johnny and the Moondogs.
Oh, sorry. What was the first one?
The Smile Boys.
The Smile Boys.
Okay, Nikki.
I'm gonna go with the Roaches.
The Roaches. It's Pete. Another point. Johnny and the Moondogs.
Just for the record, I had no idea. I'm winning this out of luck.
Johnny and the Moondogs were the Beatles' original name. Red Hot Chili Peppers. They were first called A, Flaming Dr. Peppers, B, SoCal Pals, or C, Tony Flo and the Miraculously Majestic Masters of Mayhem. Pete?
I would say the Dr. Pepper name.
Okay. Nate?
Tony Flo.
Tony Flo. Nikki?
SoCal Pals.
SoCal Pals. Nate with the point, finally on the board. Tony Flo and the Miraculously Majestic Masters of Mayhem.
By the way, did you happen to watch Anthony Kiedis on Joe Rogan recently?
No, was he on there? I didn't even know he was on there.
You got to watch it, man. What an incredibly intelligent and out there dude. He's what I think David Lee Roth wishes he was.
You can't go on Rogan without telling an alien story, right? So it's something about being abducted or.
It's amazing. That's all I got to say. If you check it out, go on back to. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was so powerful that it's worth watching.
No, that's fine. Just tell my audience to listen to another podcast, Pete. Please.
Ah,
No, I'm just kidding. The Great Black Sabbath. The Great Black Sabbath. Were they originally A, the Polka Talk Blues Band, B, Black Sunday, or C, Dark Night Vomit? Pete?
Black Sunday.
Black Sunday. Nate?
Black Sunday also.
All right, Nikki?
I want to go with 8.
A, the Polka Talk Blues Band. That is correct. Nikki on the board.
Wow.
The Black Sabbath was originally the Polka Talk Blues Band. That's a tongue twister. All right, a couple left here. Goo Goo Dolls. Love the Goo Goo Dolls.
Me too.
Originally A, the Sex Maggots, B, Gaga Dolls, or C, Johnny's Boner Brigade.
I feel like I do know this because I'm a giant Goo Goo Dolls fan. In fact, tomorrow night we'll be playing "Name." It's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, it's a. I feel like it was the Sex Maggots, but I maybe I don't that when you said that I feel like I've heard that before, but I might be wrong.
All right, Sex Maggots, Nate.
Yeah, sex maggots. That sounds funny.
All right, Nikki,
Yeah, I was going with that one too.
you all get a point. Yes, the Sex Maggots was correct,
All right.
not the Gaga Dolls. Oh, I like that one. Two left. Green Day. A, were they Yellow Knight? B, I Like Your Mother, or C, Sweet Children? Pete?
What was the first one?
Yellow Knight,
Night.
like Night. The opposite of day.
I don't know any of the. Oh, I get your little pitch. What was the second? Tell me them again.
Yellow Knight, I Like Your Mother, or Sweet Children?
Sweet Children.
All right, Nate.
Sweet children.
All right, Nikki.
Yellow Knight.
Both Pete and Nate get a point. Sweet Children is the answer.
When I say Sweet Children, I just see Billy Joe's face. I feel like he would name a band that.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're Sweet Children, and we're ready to rock your metal. All right, the last one here, Nirvana. They weren't Nirvana at the very, very beginning. They were A, Who Cares? B, Big League Chew, or C, Pen Cap Chew? Pete?
Who cares?
Who Cares? What a great band name, right? Who
It
Cares?
is a great name.
Huh, brilliant. Nate.
Pen cap chew.
All right, Nikki.
Who cares?
Nate with the point. Pen Cap Chew is the answer, but Who Cares is a great band name.
Great name.
It's tied between Pete and Nate. Congratulations. So
We have a tiebreaker.
I wish we did, but unfortunately, I was too stupid to come up with an odd number. Actually,
If I have a tiebreaker question, but I would win because I know the answer.
yeah, that's not fair. Let me see if
Do you know what Kiss's original name was?
I do if you tell me, because that was on the list.
Oh, it was Fuck. That was the name of the original band, and they brought it. They softened it down to Kiss.
Was it really? I didn't know it was Fuck. I thought it was something else. But
Yeah.
yeah. See, let me see if I can pull this back up.
And Van Halen's original band name,
Oh, that's your band. What was it?
Mammoth, which now his son has taken.
That's right. Yeah. So
I think that's neat.
he got some heat for that too, right? Originally.
Yeah. Wolfie can't do anything right. He's in a predicament. He's going to be loved and hated on both ends for the rest of his life.
That poor, we interviewed him on the radio show. Unfortunately, I had to, my partner ruined it, but he was very quiet, very subdued. It's like I actually felt so uncomfortable doing it because you have to ask him about his father, and his father just passed, and it's like, I just felt bad. I really did the whole time.
I didn't know. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. I'll give you another one. This will be the tiebreaker between Pete and Nate. All right, here we go. The band Creed. All right. Were they A, the Great Depression, B, Naked Toddler, or C, Apollo's last name? Pete?
Tell me the first one again.
I don't remember.
Then it was. I would say the name was Naked Toddler.
Naked Toddler. All right, Nate.
Well, I want to go with that one too, but I can't do that, I guess. I'll do the third one.
Yes, you lose. It is Naked Toddler, though.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
It was a process elimination because the last one was Jason's Creed name or whatever. I finally caught on to it.
Yeah.
Apollo's my first name.
So you're a big Goo Goo Dolls fan, huh?
Oh yeah. So it's funny because we were talking about the name, from the City of Angels soundtrack.
Oh, Iris is City Angels.
I mean, Iris. I was talking about Iris not that long ago. It came on. I was in the car. I'm listening to the radio. It comes on, and I was like, God, this might be one of the best and one of the last really good true love songs that was ever done. Because
So-
the 80s was full of ballads, and then the
Yeah.
90s,
So I have an incredibly interesting story about Iris. At the time, my band, some odd reason, was signed to a record label called Soul 3 Records. And my lawyer in New York City was a guy named Ron Beanstalk, which was also represented the Goo Goo Dolls. And we were really working on trying to develop me as a songwriter, kind of the Butch Walker story. I wanted to be what Butch Walker became, there's an Atlanta guy. That might be who we bring out on stage. But we were really focusing on trying to get me gigs, writing songs with people and stuff like that. And my lawyer had become one of my best friends at the time, and we were just trying. I was 25 years old, and we were just trying to establish. At that point in the music business, it was the '80s thing had happened, and it scared everybody. The death of the '80s had happened, so the theme or theory behind developing a career in the music business changed. And if you got a record deal, there was always talk about what else to do, not just focusing on your band. What else? Be a songwriter, be a producer. I was part of that world where everyone was always trying to put their hands in a bunch of different pots. And so anyway, if you remember the story, Johnny having such success with the song Name basically caused him to have a giant writer's block. Do you remember all this?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Name was so different than all the early Goo Goo Dolls three-piece punk rock stuff, and he had such huge success with it. And you can look this all up and everything. He had writer's block. He couldn't. The world was waiting for that next Goo Dolls record. Now that they had Name, and I guess their second single, Long Way Down was the single off the record, and then Name was the big breakout song, and then they had a song
Slide.
Naked after that.
Yeah.
But he couldn't write. He retreated into himself and he couldn't write. And so my lawyer had hooked me up with a writing session with Johnny.
Oh.
And it was like the day before I was supposed to go. And he wrote Iris.
Oh.
And it was me and like three other dudes that were breaking out at that time. And he wrote it and we got the call and says, hey, the writer block's over. We're not going to have any writer sessions. And to me back then, that was going to be the biggest day of my entire career. There was nothing better than I was going to sit in a room with Johnny and try to write a song. But then he wrote Iris, and all of us had to go home.
Did Slide come out after Iris? Yeah,
Yes.
Slide came out after that. That was a good song.
Yeah, he wrote Iris, and it wrote on that City of Angels soundtrack. And then the next record was Dizzy Up the Girl that had all that stuff. It had Iris. It had Black Balloon, and it had Slide, and there was one other one that all had that similar jangly, acoustic-y feel to it that, the formula that started with Name.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Name's so when our show tomorrow night, part of the element of the show is that every single song, it's all covers, but every single song, it's kind of a timeline event. So to be honest with you, I start in 1978 with a Kiss song. The next song is 1979, and it's a Van Halen song. And I do one song from every year up until like 92 or 94, and I tell a story of what that particular song meant to me and how it changed my life and how important it was. So every song is very emotional to me that we're doing in this set. And Name was a very powerful song to me. It was a very emotional song because if you listen to the lyrics, it's about it's about someone that, this is going to sound stupid because it has nothing to do with what the song's about, which is great art. A great song is something that whatever you wrote it about, someone else can make it about what they want it to be about in their own brain. You know what I mean? And if you listen to Name is the song about somebody. It's a fall from grace. It is about someone that had some kind of success of something in their life, and then all of a sudden they lost it. That, and in my brain back then, I related it was about David Lee Roth. It was, it's lonely where you are, come back down. I won't tell your name. I just kept picturing, because at that time David had booked a club tour, and the club tour got canceled for lack of interest. David Lee Roth.
Wow.
And I don't know if it ever made the news, but I was scheduled to open on some of those dates. Was the only reason I ever got the news. That the tour he did a couple dates somewhere you can find online for Your Filthy Little Mouth tour, and it got canceled. And every time I would hear the lyrics to Name, I would just relate it to Dave was the biggest star in the fucking world, and he fell from grace. And I would always just, in my brain, because I'm such a big Van Halen fan, I would relate it to that. But then the lyric in that, there's the most powerful lyric in the world for guys our age is, you grew up way too fast and there's nothing to believe. The reruns all become our history. What a powerful statement to the generation of TV watchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got their picture up there. They're signed. They signed. Remember when they came into the studio back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think they did Iris actually at that time. Wish I had the recording of that. That'd have been.
I would love to hear that. Such a hard song to cover too. I've tried it my whole life. It's a 3/4 time signature, and he tunes the guitar really weird. It's an incredibly creative song, and you can go online and look at a bunch of YouTubers doing acoustic versions of it. And amen to everybody in their art. It's a terrible song to try to do by yourself acoustic.
Well, if you're looking for somebody terrible to help you out when you guys do the stadium tour in Atlanta, don't forget, I'm always available to come out and sing with you guys.
Are you coming tomorrow night?
Yes, I'm coming tomorrow night.
Are you gonna sing tomorrow night?
No, I won't do that because I don't do acoustic. I do loud noises and barely hear my voice, guy.
I got you. What if we do a Pantera acoustic song?
And just we just want me to scream, Do Motorhead, Ace of Spades, and I can come out there and I'll say,
I bet you me and Chad would do that.
it was funny because when Brett brought, just like he normally does, he brings everybody, the special guests to come out at the end and sing Nothing But a Good Time. And I learned my lesson from some years ago is don't put yourself on the same stage as numerous people that are way more important than you. Right? Because, I embarrassed myself that one time. I always bring it up, when I went out with Poison and whatnot. And this is years and years and years ago. So I'm going, okay, so you've got the lead singer of Lit. You've got a couple other guys, like I think.
Hoobastank.
You got the guitarist from Hoobastank. You got Taylor, the drummer for Lit that came out. Then a couple of the guys, like their merch guy was way cool. And then their guitar tech guy was real cool. So, they were just kind of out there filming and do the thing. But AJ from Lit is out there just crushing.
Owning it.
Owning it was like the coolest collaboration because I'm going back to when I was out there doing it. Not that I didn't know every single word, but Brad Arnold from Three Doors didn't know any of the words. And he was so high that he didn't even know what was going on. He just had his hat down and he's doing his thing. So I'm like thinking that not all these artists are going to know Poison songs. So afterwards, I remember saying to AJ, I was like, God, you crushed that. You knew all the words. That was awesome. I was so happy to see that. And he goes, bro, I grew up on this shit.
Yeah. And it's funny. So did Brad. We just played with Three Doors Down a few weeks. The next night after we left.
Yeah, I saw that.
Down and played with Three Doors Down. And Brad is a Poison fan, but he knows what he knows.
Brad is a Poison fan now.
Yeah.
And he knows what he knows. And I'm going to take all the credit in the world for that because every time I talk to him, I bring up that story. He didn't know a line.
Right.
Nothing But a Good Time.
Right.
And
it's funny.
I think since then, he's made it a point to memorize it, to be honest with you.
So we, that kind of stuff happens a lot. Last week, Josie from Saliva got up with us.
Love Josie.
Josie's great. Josie's so great. He gave me a ring, actually. It was very 2 years ago, we saw him right before the pandemic, we saw him, and he brought Brett this ring, and I said, "Man, that's a cool ring." And I didn't think he'd think much of it. And when he came last week, he brought me one. But Josie's great. I love Saliva a lot, and but we did Sweet Home Alabama, and
Oh, that's awesome.
we brought him up for Sweet Home Alabama, and he forgot it. Like for some reason he went blank up on the stage and forgot. I mean, everyone knows some of the words to Sweet Home Alabama.
Right?
They know
Yeah.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, he did the
That's it.
but yeah, we get people up. I mean, that's it. Brett loves to bring people up and invite them on stage and play and stuff. And it's interesting when you see, and a lot of times they're super confident. Yeah. I'd love to do it. We'll be up. We'll do nothing but a good time, or we'll do this or that. And then they get up and they realize that moment where, oh, I really don't know that song.
Well, Brett screws you up because he changes. He says, I raise a toast to all of us who are busting our the lyrics are busting our butts every day.
Yeah.
Busting our ass in concert. So
Yeah.
it throws you off when you do it live. You got to keep up, kids. Got to keep up.
Sure.
You got to keep up. But anyway, so I think Taylor was like, "Come on, man, we're going up," and I go, "No. I'm watching this one. I'll be stage right. I'm good." He goes, "Oh, come on, we're all going up." I'm like, "No, there's no place for me up there. I learned my lesson. I'm not intoxicated. I'm done.
You know what's funny is Brett himself will tell you the exact same story in his own shoes. He often relates to the times where him and Charlie Sheen were like best friends and hanging out, and he will often talk about he learned his place. If they were going somewhere with Charlie, Charlie was the guy. And even though he was Bret Michaels and at the time was already a huge star, when they were doing they would go to movie premieres or anything in Charlie's world, just sit back and let Charlie be the star. You know what I mean? And that's a lesson to learn. It's a lesson to learn to know when it's your moment and when it's not.
Yeah, that was not my moment's gone. It's past. I'm cool with that. But anyway, all right. So look, TanneryRowAlehouse.com. That's the website. If you're out at Podcasting Forest 2, Halliversary, you've been there, you had a good time. It's in Buford. If you want to go, you just need to call Tannery Row, make reservations, 678-765-8979. It's Pete and Chad's Acoustic Rock Show. Also, don't forget Christmas time. If you're looking for a really good Christmas prize for somebody, Pete's candles are awesome. Really, really cool. ShiningSoul.com. That's soul, SOL.com. SOL, ShiningSoul.com.
That's awesome. And are you flying in from Mexico to come to our show tomorrow?
Yep, I'm gonna be there. I'll be at the beer stand.
Right on.
All right, brother. I'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon, Pete.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Thank you.